Welcome, everybody. This is Social Studio Office Hours. My name is Dominique Ramirez. I work at the Digital Media Engagement team and for the Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs. And with me today is Maria Adebola. Maria, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Adebola. I think I may know one or two of you, so my apologies. However, I work for VHA Central Office. I work as a social media specialist, where my duties before I actually left for maternity leave included scheduling as well as coordinating all of our social media content that went onto VHA's national Facebook and Twitter site. With me being back, I actually came back from maternity leave around 2 weeks ago. I've kind of shifted to other functions within social media where I'm working hand in hand with Dom on getting all the VA medical centers successfully implemented into Social Studio and other, cool social media related projects that, such as, TweetDeck and things like that they may have me working on. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. Over to you, Dom.
Thanks. And so the first thing that we need to discuss here is, the first thing I'd like to point out just as a public service announcement is that I am working at home and I do have a new puppy, relatively new, and he tends to bark at things from time to time. So if that happens, I do apologize. Aside from that, that is a standard disclaimer. What is Social Studio? And from my perspective, Social Studio is a unified enterprise level platform for scheduling and managing social media content. So one of the main benefits of Social Studio is that you can combine all your social media accounts into one calendar, and also you can pull social media related reports like metrics reports and whatnot from the same system, so that you don't have to log into every different social media platform to pull metrics and stuff like that. You can get it all in one location. I believe, Maria, you referred to it as sort of a one-stop shop for your social media, for your general social media needs across multiple platforms. The first thing that we're going to really be covering here is the publish capabilities in Social Studio. And by publish, I'm referring to creating and publishing content. And it also encompasses things like scheduling. And so in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and look at the calendar. Now this right here, what I'm looking at is the calendar for the the Digital Media Engagement team at the Department of Veterans Affairs. This is our calendar, our social media calendar, and if you can tell, it's really busy. There's a lot of stuff on it, but each one of these things represents a piece of social media content that will be published at some point in the future. Oh, by the way, I'm muting people as they hop in. I should have set that as a default, but as you join, I'm muting you. You can unmute yourself though, so if you have to, go ahead. So all this stuff right here is pieces of content, and notice the blue ones, the regular blue ones are Facebook. The more teal-colored ones are Twitter, and then I believe this one, it's kind of hard to see on my screen here. It's probably Instagram, and YouTube is generally red. So that's how you can identify them. They're different platforms, but you can tell, when I click on it, it opens up and it has the actual social media content in it. Now, one thing that I wanted to discuss on this call today is, so we already talked about this is the calendar, and it's under the Publish tab right here. You see Publish. Once you select that, it'll take you to the calendar. The other way to get here is by clicking the number 12 here, and it'll take you to the calendar. So there's two ways that I tell people that they can create content for Social Studio. And the two ways that you can do this are based on what your purpose is in creating the content you're creating. If you're creating it to publish, immediately, then you'll want to click this green button where it says create content. That's for publishing right now. And then if you're creating it to go out at some point in the future, you want to click somewhere on the calendar. Now, you can do both from either method, but it would just take extra steps that you don't need to make. So that's why I like to tell people, if you're going to create something to publish right now, click this green button. If you're going to create something to publish at some point in the future, then you want to click on the calendar right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you the difference actually. Here, let me open up another one over here. So here we'll do it by clicking the green button. And notice when I click that, it says what platform do you want to publish from, basically. It has a list of different social media channels that you can publish from. I'm going to choose Facebook. And then I'll do the same over here, but I'm going to click on the calendar for Friday at 3 p.m. Friday at 3 p.m. Also Facebook. And the main difference that you'll see between these two is that one of them has a blue button at the bottom, while the other one has a green button. And you'll notice the different words. One says publish now, where the other one says schedule from Social Studio. Now, you can change back and forth in between these, but the cool thing about clicking on the calendar and starting a piece of content that way is that the date and the time are already set. You don't have to do that as a second step, whereas if I was trying to schedule content for the future and I click the green button, I would have to then go from publish now, I'd have to change that, and then I would have to go and pick the day, and then I would have to go and pick the time, which was 3 p.m. So that's not what I wanted to do. And so like I said, if you want to schedule something for the future, it's just faster to just click on the calendar itself. And if you do want to choose back and forth between these two, just click the where it says deployment, change the option from schedule to publish now. And then you can publish it using this method as well. Now, the first thing you want to do when you create a piece of content specifically for Facebook, but this applies to all of them actually, is you want to choose which account you want to publish to. Some workspaces, which this is actually a workspace that we're working in, some workspaces have more than one Facebook page, more than one Twitter account, things of that sort. So you'll want to choose the one that you're going to publish from. And then you have to write the content that you're publishing. This is some content. Now, the content referring to the text information that you're publishing for Facebook. One thing I will note, www.blogs.va.gov. I've had people ask me this question, so I thought I should kind of point this out. Let's say you wanted to publish the Veteran of the Day, but if you go into publish it and you put that link here, it doesn't automatically pull the picture in. So if you want to publish something with a link and have it pull the featured image in, you have to hit enter after that, and you'll notice now it's loading the attachment right here, so now you see the picture has showed up. So that's how you make it do that, and so once you've done that, once it's already loaded that, you can actually delete the hyperlink, and it will retain that information. It's still got the link. And so now you just have your description and the picture that was pulled in and a link to that content. And if you do this, you can actually choose a call to action like learn more, sign up, watch more if it's a video, or nothing. You can choose nothing, but I like to use learn more. And then you get here to something called labels. And labels, the way I describe them, they're like hashtags for the back end of Social Studio. So this is not, a label is not anything that anybody on social media is actually going to see. This is for your uses only and for VA's uses more generally, because there are some functions that we can use at the enterprise level if everybody's using the same labels. And I'll get into a little bit of why labels are useful a little bit later, but let's just use one of these for now. So this is a Veteran of the Day. So I would choose the Veteran of the Day label. And notice, you should note that there does not need to be a hashtag in front of them. These are just words that you use to categorize content. So it's a way to tell yourself what this content is about. And one of the reasons that it's important is because then it helps you find that content later on. So like I said, I'll get into labels a little bit afterwards, but I just want to point out these are very important. You should try to add labels to every piece of content because it really will help in the long run. Location, you can write a location if you want. Washington, D.C. Yeah, there you go. And it'll just show up right here under the name of your page. I don't know that it helps at all, but you can do it. I've actually, I feel like I've seen people put the name of their VA medical center in there. Maria, do you know the name off the top of your head of a VA medical center? Bay Pines, right? Bay Pines, VA medical. Yeah. No, that's not it. It was in there. VA. I mean, maybe that is it. Did they change it out? Whatever. You get the idea. That might be like a fan page or something. But you can add like your medical center, and sometimes it'll actually pull that in there for you. Let's see. Branded content partner. I've never actually used this, but it's there. You can play around with it, see if it is something useful to you, but I doubt it. Deployment, I already went over that. So you're kind of choosing how you want to publish it. Do you want to publish it now? Do you want to schedule it from Social Studio? Send as unpublished and schedule to Facebook. I've actually never used these two. I never needed to. So if you find a need to it, then, have at it. And then link shortening, I believe default is bddy.me, which is powered by Bitly. That's already set up for us. I think it should already be set up for you. You could check with Maria, I guess, in the future. And heads up, Maria, that's something people are going to ask you, I guess. Targeting, this is actually only for Facebook, and it allows you to, you can target based on various topics, like this one, baseball, daycare, Chicago, Kendrick Lamar are the examples. But for us, I would say like nursing, research, healthcare, stuff like that. So you can actually target people by interest. You can target them by age range. You can target them by gender, I guess, and then locations as well. So if let's say for VHA specifically, if you guys wanted to send something that only applies to people in Texas, then you could type in Texas here, and it would only. We've had to do that a couple of times at our level on our accounts. That when we had somebody who wanted to share an event that was going on at a specific VA medical center, then we would target that state or that region. You can target cities or states in here, and then also you can target language. So if you have something that's specific to a different, people that speak a particular language, you can target their news feeds as well. Then there's web analytics. I haven't actually used this, but I imagine it has to do with Google Analytics tracking codes and whatnot. I couldn't tell you for sure on that. Restricted audience, I've never actually used this, but it kind of says, I imagine it's for more risque type of content that I see no reason you should be publishing. But yeah, so now once we're at this point, if you click schedule this from Social Studio, this thing is ready to go. It's ready to publish. But you could also save it as a draft. So I'm going to show you how to save it as a draft real quick. Once you save something as a draft, it shows up in your drafts folder. But you can also go to the calendar, and you'll note it is right here on your calendar. And I wanted to highlight the color here. Notice it's kind of a gray color. Well, if I was to go in here and click Edit and go to Schedule, notice it doesn't kick me to the drafts folder anymore because it's not there, but notice it's like a bright blue. Twitter would be teal, and we already kind of went over those. Let's see, how to duplicate a post. So let's say if I made a post for Facebook and I also wanted to use it on Instagram, I could duplicate it right here. Also, here's shared content. If I wanted to share this to other people, maybe within my vision, to other workspaces, I could do that. But I'm going to show you how to duplicate this for Instagram. You could do the same for Twitter as well. I'm going to choose Publish Directly and choose this account. And it usually pulls in the picture. Sometimes it can have an issue if the picture is not the right size. So that could be a problem that we're having on this one. But I'm going to schedule it, just see what happens. Yeah, it didn't. I think the image was the wrong size for Instagram, so it probably didn't pull it over. But you get the idea. I'm pretty sure it'll work on Twitter too. Let me try it for Twitter. Duplicate, post, Twitter. They're just trying to make me look bad. It didn't pull the image or the link over. It may be that I needed to leave it might be that I needed to leave that link in so that Social Studio knows to go back out to that web page and pull the picture in. Never had to do that before. So usually when I demonstrate this, I actually upload a picture. So, all right, well, I won't do it that way no more. But you get the idea. If you want to duplicate something for a different platform, you can do that. Or you can duplicate it for the same platform. Like if you did a post earlier in the week and you wanted to use it again, you could do that. Shared content, I was telling you about shared content. Shared content is actually going to be like a pretty big deal for usefulness here at VA of this tool. And I'll show you how to share something to share content. Let's say that this post, I thought it was really useful and I wanted to share it to other people. I'm actually going to share it back to this workspace, but you could technically share it to all 137 workspaces across the VA if you wanted to. So notice it's pulling in the picture, it pulled in the text, it pulled in, well, if there was a link, it would have pulled in the link. And then it also pulls in your labels. So here's my label, and I want to choose who I want to share it with. Like I said, you can share it with everybody here, but right now I'm just going to share it with the testing workspace, which is where I'm working from. Testing workspace. Darn it. It didn't search very well, did it? Testing workspace. All right, apply. So I'm only going to share it with this workspace because I don't think it's actually that useful. But notice you can add comments to this to let people know, why you're sharing this, what it's useful for, and also you can set enable by and disable by dates. So like if there's sexual harassment awareness month, or you know what I'm saying, like mental health week or something like that, you can actually set a date by which people can't publish your content beforehand. And then like if the month, Black History Month is over, so you had content that's specifically for that month, you can actually just turn it off at that, at a particular end date, so that people can't use it afterwards, after that particular month, because that kind of looks silly if you're honoring, well, I mean, it's not too silly, but it's like, you missed it. But so you click save, and it will actually send it to that workspace. And notice where I have 172, it's going to pop over to 173 here in a second. These are alerts. This is where you're going to get alerts that tell you that that something has been shared with you or something has happened within Social Studio. Notice it hasn't popped up yet. It's taking a little while. Let me do a refresh and see what happens. Done it. Well, let me just hop into shared content anyway. So it's here. Usually it sends me an alert, but it decided not to this time. But notice, here's shared content. This is the content that was shared to me. Now, I shared it to myself, but that was just for demonstration purposes. And one of the real benefits that you're going to find with shared content is something called VA Campaign. Notice right here, remember I was talking about labels? Well, these are labels right here. And one label that I've been asking the program offices to add to their content is VA space campaign. Space meaning just hit the space bar. And if you do that, if you type that into as a filter to narrow down the results, you will actually get content specifically from these program offices. Like this one's from the Homeless Veteran Outreach Office. There's stuff from mental health, Kobe and Rhett, I believe, PTSD related stuff, TBI stuff. The way that you might recognize some of these is that we'll get emails sent out to us that have like a Word document attached and a bunch of pictures, and it'll have a table that says, use this for Facebook, this for Twitter, this for Instagram, and you have to copy the text and paste the text and download the pictures and upload the pictures and schedule it out. Well, in this case, this stuff's already ready to go. And notice this one's for Instagram, right? It says, well, it says Instagram here. Well, let's use one for Facebook. So this one's for Facebook, and let's say I just want to get this on my calendar. Well, instead of having to copy, paste, download, upload, all that stuff, I just click this green button and say use for Facebook. And now it kicks me over to the Facebook scheduling page, and then I choose which account I want to publish on. And I can publish it right now, but remember I told you if you want to schedule for the future, you can click deployment. And then let's say I want to choose Friday at 4 o'clock, schedule. Now this was something that was sent out by a program office, but it's on my calendar now in less than like 5 minutes. So it's very easy to get your content from here. So when you see people say, hey, we've shared this also in Social Studio, this is what they're talking about. They added it to shared content and they put the label VA campaign. So if you get an email with a bunch of content that you need to schedule, it's a good possibility that you can hop over here and share content and get it much easier, much faster, and save yourself a lot of time. So let's see. I think that's all I got for this section. Maria, do you want to go into the next topic?
Hey, Dom, it's Jeff. Are you taking questions also?
I'm taking questions at the end of this, but I'm not sure where Maria is.
Okay. I joined a few minutes late because I was on another call. Anyway,
no worries.
I would say keep going.
Okay. Well, Maria, can't hear you, so I'm just going to keep moving along here. The next topic is the Engage tab. Uh-oh. Says you're talking. You're on mute then. Let's see. Let me unmute. Try talking again. Nope. Yeah, that didn't work. I can't hear you.
Maria, did you dial in and use the audio from your computer? Because you may need to mute one of them.
She did. She dialed in and she used the audio from her computer.
I've noticed that WebEx turns on your video and your audio without you knowing it, like by default.
All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and move through this one, Maria, and we'll hammer this out a little later. So this is the Engage tab, and the Engage tab is where you this is where you can actually respond. So let's say you create a post and people have to reply to that, or people reply to it, and you can actually respond to them from here. So these are little columns that you can actually create that will represent different types of content.
Hi, this is Maria. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
My apologies. I do not know what's going on with my phone. I kept saying, hi, I'm here, and unfortunately no one could hear me, but I'm glad you can hear me now. I heard you kind of like, telling me that to kind of touch on the Engage feature within Social Studio. Did you want me to wait because I think you've moved on, or, what should I do here?
I'm passing, I passed over the presentation to you to see if, we'll see if you can do it. I don't know.
All righty. I can. I am sharing my screen now, so let me know if you can see my screen.
It is starting to share content.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let me know.
That's great.
All right, perfect. All right. My apologies again, everyone, for, kind of the technical issues, but my purpose here is I wanted to just briefly showcase the Engage feature within Social Studio, kind of just to show you how we within VHA use it and how it could potentially work into your to your benefit. So right now, what I'm showing you is sort of like the Engage interface. How we have it segmented within VHA is Workspace is we sort of have like a mixture here where it is a combination of Veterans Health, Facebook, and Twitter account. For more of sort of like a specific comments as to what we're looking at, we also have another column that just focuses on VHA's Facebook comments, and then if you look over here, we have Twitter's Facebook comments and Twitter's comments, and then we have two other columns here that are unique to some of the topics that we are watching. And something I wanted to touch on is the idea or the possibility of creating a template that you can share across your team. So the reason why I wanted to share this is because templates are unique, especially with the fact that you can share it across your team because, for example, if you are working on a specific campaign, for example, coronavirus, and you kind of wanted to gauge the sentiment across, both your Facebook as well as your Twitter platform on what's being said, that's a great way for you to kind of like filter it based off of the topic as well as the post label to share it across your team section. So this is sort of like within the settings in your workspace, you can do that. All you need to do is just go into your settings profile, hit on template, and then you can build your template from there if you're interested. So we like it. It works for us, especially with the fact that it also allows you to see who on your team is working on what comment and how they are responding to the comments and such. I also wanted to touch on some other unique features within Engage when it comes to responding or how you go about engaging within Social Studio or within the Engage feature. So Facebook and Twitter sort of
and he was pretty sure he had just
someone I've not muted your mic is muting your computer or your phone. Perfect. All right, great. So I wanted to touch on some additional features within this platform. For example, Facebook and Twitter do sort of have like a different widget as to how you go about engaging. So if you were, for example, wanted to reply to a comment, you do have that opportunity. And then in addition to some other widgets, I'm actually trying to scroll down to a much more, there we go. All right. So here are some of the widgets that Facebook and Twitter has. So you can choose to reply to a comment if a reply is warranted. You can choose to reply privately. You can choose to engage by liking a comment. You can choose to delete a comment, which when you hit this, I believe it deletes specifically from on Facebook as well as also this feature also is available on Twitter. You can choose to hide the post on Social Studio specifically, or you can choose to hide the post on Facebook if you're so willing to do. Within the reply feature, there is also a pre-approved response tab that we have sort of like created. If you are interested in the topic varies. So this particular bank is sort of built with based off of the common questions that we as a central office receive. So by all means, I do believe you do also have the ability to sort of like create a pre-approved response bank if you want to. You can use this available response bank. There are about 73 responses that are in here. What I would say is if you choose to use this response bank to fit for the comments that you are reviewing or you choose to respond to, definitely review the comments in addition to also reviewing the links before you hit send. My reason for saying that is because we do update this comment bank every now and then. However, there are times or certain comments that might need to be updated or that you might need to use that is unique to your particular medical center. So if perhaps that's the case, certainly feel free to edit it as you wish. And if there is a link that is broken, we would ask that you let us know so we can get that fixed for you. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is some of the other features that we do sort of use within Engage, which will be the status. We always update our the status based off of, what type of activities we've done. For example, if we referred a comment, we will hit that referred status. If we have commented and if we have responded to that individual, we may, kind of hit that commented and close. So it depends on what action you have taken on that particular comment. For the suicide-related comments, we do prioritize that as high, so we would kind of indicate that as a high priority because we not only send that over to we do send that over to the VA suicide prevention team. You do also have the opportunity if you are not necessarily aware as to how to respond to a comment, you can always assign that to someone else on your team if you so wish to, and that would be that can be done within this particular assignment tab. Sentiment, we really don't use it as much, but one thing that we do use on all of our comments is we use the post labels, and the post labels really help us to gauge at the end of the day, especially within the Analyze feature, what types of comments based on the topics that we receive. I will also want to note that there is a difference between post labels versus author labels. Author labels, the way I would define this is more of just kind of like a label. If you want to define who that particular audience is, who that particular person is, whether it is, this is just a general example, maybe this particular audience happens to be John, John, and you are very familiar with him and you know that he's someone who is somewhat of like a disgruntled commenter or something like that. So you can choose to define that individual as that label. I would note that once you define that individual as that particular label, this label sticks on all of your comments. So this is more permanent, whereas post label is mainly strict to that particular post. Author label is somewhat permanent. So every time that individual responds to your comment or chooses to engage to your on your post, this will show up. You also have the option to do more. If you want to maybe insert, like, for example, an author note, you can do that. If you want to check out the interaction history, how you have interacted in the past with that particular individual or that account, you can also do that. In addition to also, if you're interested in kind of just checking out that individual or that particular handle's recent posts, you also have the ability to do that as well. I think that's all I wanted to share. We do also have additional features within Engage that you can use, but I think what I've touched on kind of touches on the granular part of Engage, how we predominantly within VHA use Engage and how it might help you. Dom, do you kind of want to touch on the topic profile really quick? Hi, Dom. Are you there? All right. I don't hear Dom, which kind of scares me because I'm hoping everyone else can hear me. Do let me know. Can you hear?
I'm here.
Out there hear me? Oh, great. All right. So
sorry, took me a while to get off mute.
I wanted to pass the baton to you to give you an opportunity to touch on topic profiles really quick.
Sure.
All right.
See if we can figure out how to do that.
All right. I think in order for us to do that, I need to stop sharing. So
I think I got it.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. All right, so topic profiles. I mentioned topic profiles. Also, I mentioned earlier labels, but I forgot to show you how to use them. So I'll get back to that after topic profiles, though. Topic profiles, they can be used in both the Engage tab, which we're currently in, and the Analyze tab that we're going to look at in a bit. But if you see this little purple thing with the it looks like a little chat bubble or whatever, that is a topic profile. And let's see, So that means it's based off a topic profile. Cool. Sorry, I'm looking at something over here. Can you guys still hear me? Well, I'm going to assume that you can, and I'm going to keep going. So I have some topic profiles over here, and one of them is called, all right, good, thanks. One of them is called Coronavirus 3, and inside of this topic profile is a bunch of keyword groups. And keyword groups, these are all like GI Bill, these are like what you want to pull results for. And one of the reasons you might want to do that is so that you can get a feed of people commenting about certain things. And so in this case, I want to know about various VA programs and coronavirus. So this is a topic profile that I've created, and I'll show you how we can use it. First, I want to create a new tab just kind of for the heck of it. And note, Maria was talking about creating templates, and this is where those templates show up. And it's basically a fully complete build out with all these different columns and stuff, so that you know that your entire team, like if you wanted to set it up this way, you could say, hey, everybody use the Vision 16 template in your Engage tab, so I know we're all looking at the same stuff, or the, whatever, Bay Pines, I'm using them today, VA Medical Center templates, that we're all looking at the same exact stream of comments and stuff. It just helps so that you know that everybody's looking at the same thing. But in this case, I'm going to create a blank tab. And I'm going to create it, and it should be called My Tab. And now I want to add a column. So here's a column. Notice you can choose a social account or a topic profile. I want a topic profile, and I want it to be Coronavirus 3. And so now it's going to pull in all this stuff that's related to the coronavirus based on the keywords that I created when I built this topic profile, like veteran and education and coronavirus. So notice all of these are various keywords. So these are like an or statement. It can have GI Bill, or GI Bill as one word, or Mission Act as one word, or VA plus pension, or VA plus burial, VA plus benefits, and it has to have the word coronavirus. And I put exclude RT for retweets. So we can look at our topic profile here and notice veteran, benefits, disability. You can just see people out here talking about stuff. Now, you can also, if you wanted to, you can follow. So these are just random people, okay? This is just pulling out anything out there on the social media, various social media platforms that you selected, be it Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It's going to pull content from all of these people. And I do apologize if there's any bad words that show up in here. So, or you can do something else. So there's associated with topic profiles is something known as source groups. Now, one of the popular reasons that you might want to use a source group is if you want to follow a particular person on social media in your streams, in your Engage tab. So let's say this is a topic profile that had to do with coronavirus, but I want a topic profile feed that has nothing but the secretary's tweets. So here's one that says Sec Wilkie on it. So why don't I just select that? Now, the reason that this looks like a topic profile instead of the source group that I was just talking about is because a source group gets added to a topic profile. So I know we have one in here called Sec Wilkie, and that's the one I'm going to be using. So let me find it, Sec Wilkie. And you'll note it doesn't have really any keywords. Oh, actually, this one does. I believe there's actually a different one that had to do with Sec Wilkie. I believe it was VA and Sec Wilkie or something like that. DME and Sec Wilkie. Here we go. DME and Sec Wilkie Twitter. So this is particularly useful if you want to do social media content of the day, if you wanted to retweet it from within Social Studio. So I would apply that. I can go back to my topic profile, hold on, and go to DME and Sec Wilkie Twitter. And notice there's no keywords in here, but what there is a source group, and it says include all. So I can go to my source group, DME and Sec Wilkie Twitter. Notice all you do is add links to those people, to their Twitter accounts. This is the Dev Affairs Twitter account. This is a Sec Wilkie Twitter account. And you can build your own. So you just copy the link to somebody's Twitter account, and you paste it in here, and they will be added to a source group. And then you add that source group to a topic profile, and then you add that topic profile to a feed. So let's say I want to follow DME and SecWiki Twitter. Now this is a column in my Engage tab, and generally at 9 a.m. Or around that time, somewhere around there, we get the social content of the day. Some of you guys might have seen this one. Notice Jennifer, I can't pronounce her last name, and Bethlehem both retweeted this from within Social Studio. So you could do this too. So if you're in here, you could just click retweet, and you're done with social content of the day for the day. Same thing if it was a Debt Affairs tweet. Notice VA, Veterans Affairs, retweeted this as well. So that's how you can use topic profiles, not only to pull in just content on any particular topic that you want to create a keyword group for, but also to follow specific people by creating a source group, adding it to the topic profile, and then pulling it into a column in your Engage tab. And, oh yeah, I said that I wanted to show you how to use labels. Over here we have, this is a Debt Affairs workspace. So all of these things are called, this space right here is called a workspace. And in it is it's like your own personal area where you can have your team's social media accounts and whatnot in it. And so this is all of ours. And one of the reasons I wanted to show you the labels, like how to use labels, is because sometimes, especially when you have as many posts as we do, as much content as we have, it can get really busy in here. So this is last week. It was nuts. Of course, Memorial Day and whatnot does tend to get busier when there's a holiday, a major event. But one of the cool things here is all these labels, these are actually filters. Everything in this little side panel is a filter to help you find your content easier. And so if I wanted to find, because, it's really messy here, but I know I did a post about #B there. So I want to find that post. Oh, there it is right there. Just click that to filter it down. Another thing you can use is if I know I'm looking for a Facebook post, but I don't know which one because there's all these Twitter posts and everything else, I can click the Facebook one. And it'll filter out everything but Facebook. But here's something actually really cool. What if I just wanted to see all my Veteran of the Day posts? I click that. Now, the only reason I can do these filtering things is because all of these posts have the Veteran of the Day label, #Veteran of the Day label. And the same thing works. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a hashtag. Born the Battle is our amazing podcast, hitting the top of the charts, post-Marine Corps veteran, Tanner Iskra. And so you can see it narrows it down to just that stuff. It makes it really easy for you to find your stuff. But one of the real awesome parts here is when you want to do a performance, like an engagement report. You can click on this little, looks like a heartbeat or a chart right here, click performance. And you can come in here. Notice this is a cool little summary that we got here, but if you scroll down below this summary, you can actually do post reports. So you can choose to do platform specific, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram, or you can choose all. I'm going to choose Facebook. And then you click show filters. And notice right here, match any of these labels. Well, I'm going to use one that I know has a lot of stuff in it, Veteran of the Day, because we do one every day. So it's going to have lots of stuff. Choose your date range, and you can choose actually various media types, be it picture, photo, link, status, video, what have you. And you can actually even choose columns, like if you want to add different columns to your report. And then, reach, organic versus paid, fan versus not fan. So then you click Apply Filters, and you'll see it's narrowed it down. If you click on this, each one of these is a Veteran of the Day. Today's Veteran of the Day is. Today's Veteran of the Day is. So this is all Veteran of the Day content. And the cool thing here is that, let's say if you were running a campaign, let's say about PTSD, maybe it's PTSD Awareness Week. I don't know if that's really a week, but let's just say it is for the sake of this discussion. You can actually make sure you add PTSD as a label to all the content that you've created about PTSD, and then set your date range. You can say for the week, for PTSD Awareness Week, we had all these posts. It will go and find them for you. You don't have to track manually back through all your posts in your timeline trying to find all the stuff about PTSD. As long as it has a label on it, it'll pull it in here automatically. And then if you really want to get snazzy, you click right here on the export button and click all data on the page, click the CSV, and it will open in Microsoft Excel. And of course, it's going to take a minute to do that. But once you get it open in Microsoft Excel, you can actually run reports on this. So if I was to say equals sum, so this will tell me how many comments I had, how many likes, how much reach, how many shares. And so you could actually, if somebody said, hey, how did our content do for that particular campaign, you can show them very quickly. That took me less than 2 minutes. So anyway, that's one of the reasons that it's really important that you put labels on all of your content. Let's see, Maria, did you want to try to go over analyze? I probably muted you again, so you'll have to unmute yourself. I'm passing it over to you, Maria. I still can't hear you, though. Here, I'll unmute you. There you go.
All right. How is this? Can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely. Much better.
Okay, great. So I'm going to touch on the Analyze feature in Social Studio. Bear with me a little bit so I can share my screen. All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
I see it.
All right, great. So the Analyze feature in Social Studio allows you as a team to sort of be able to review your performance within your workspace based on topics or post sentiments. You can take a look at trends or even emerging keywords. So you can also look at it based off of if you just want to take a look at your Twitter account alone or maybe your Facebook or Instagram, you do have that opportunity. We within VHA sort of have like maybe one or two dashboards that we have created based off of what we are trying to look at or what's important to our team. So for example, we have a mixed dashboard that combines both Facebook and Twitter accounts. Now, bear in mind that VHA is not active on Instagram at the moment. However, you do have that opportunity if your medical center is active on Twitter. You do have that opportunity to also kind of get a summary as to the metrics within Instagram on how, or sort of like get a pulse as to how your content is doing on Instagram. You also have the opportunity to sort of like take a look at the engagement summary. Sort of gives you an analysis as to, who's responding to your comment within your team, what the average time it takes to respond to your comments and things like that. So you do have that opportunity to create that dashboard. And in a minute or so, Don is also going to touch on topic profiles within Analyze and how you can also kind of get a pulse as to how you're using it, as well as just a general metric summary. So I sort of wanted to touch on really quick on what type of trends or metrics VHA is looking at, is interested in. So for example, we're interested within VHA on how our our content is is being engaged with. We are interested in our follower trend, the post labels. We certainly are interested in how it's pretty much our post labels, how it's being engaged with, how we are engaging with it, or how we're using it, You can also customize the date based off of your preference. I believe the most this particular metrics will go up to is about 90 days, which is about 3 months. So that's the most that you can pull when it comes to the metrics. And I seem to have inputted a filter here, so excuse me. So the cool thing about this Analyze feature is that you can choose to create a dashboard that you can only use privately for yourself, or you can share it with your team. So here, as you can see, I created a dashboard that I shared with my team. So every month within our team, what we do is we kind of take a look at how our posts are doing in addition to the engagement level of all of our posts. and then we, once we take a look at it, we go back sort of like a drawing, I call it a drawing board in terms of asking ourselves, what did we do last month and what can we do differently this month that, can improve our engagement. Engagement is very important to us because for us, engagement shows that not only are we, it kind of gives us a pulse as to what type of topics our veterans are interested in. So that's particularly what we try to do, what we're looking for when we look into or when we push out those posts that we create and such. We're very much interested in the overall engagement of our posts, how many comments, what types of comments we get, how many likes, and things like that. And so pretty much you can view the engagement analyze feature based off of what's unique to your goals, as well as what type of metrics you're looking to garner from amongst your audience. And as you can see, we sort of like have like a top word cloud here. It gives us sort of like a pulse as to the different words or the prominent words on our page, on both our Facebook and Twitter accounts. So that's sort of like in a nutshell what Analyze is and how we use it. John, you want to touch on the topic profiles really quick?
Yeah, I'll do it really quick, and then hopefully there'll be a minute or three left to answer some questions. So here, let me share my screen one more time, and I think I'll just take over for you there. And all right, so by the way, my puppy has to go out, and so you might hear him barking. But just give me a second here. Okay, so this is the Analyze tab, and I wanted to point out how you can actually create a dashboard using a topic profile. So you can do a social listening summary. There's all these other types of dashboards that I don't really have time to get into them right now, but you can click here and notice you can actually create this based off a topic profile, and you can create a new one, or you can use one that's already created. So since I was showing off the, actually I don't know if I did show this off, but here's coronavirus 3, click apply. Yeah, I did show off coronavirus 3. And it had all those keywords related to veterans and coronavirus, and as well as VA and coronavirus. Well, you can create a dashboard that has all this stuff in it, and you can kind of follow this over time. You can choose what platforms you want to show up. You can choose what languages you want to show up. You can find influencers, people that are tweeting content or posting Facebook content about your topic profiles. And if you notice, it gives you a feed showing all the stuff that they've said about about the content in your topic profile. So if you're looking for stories to share, you can set it up like this, create a topic profile, and then follow the feed here, and then you'll see all the stuff that they posted, as well along with their influencer scores, which is kind of a idea of how much reach they have. So that's pretty much how you do it. You can also do it based on a particular source group. So if I want to create a dashboard, social listening summary, and I chose that, what was it, DME and SecWilkie Twitter, I'm pretty sure it'll pull in all the content from DME and SecWilkie. Yeah, so that's how you can use topic profiles in the Analyze tab. Sorry, it took so long to get through this. But anyway, does anybody have any questions in the last couple minutes while this is crunching? You might have to unmute yourself if you're. You might have been muted inside of WebEx. All right. Well, I'm not getting any questions. I mean, I guess we could wrap it up. But yeah, Maria, do you have any last words of wisdom?
No, only I guess my last words of wisdom would be the best way to get comfortable with it, with using Social Studio, is actually going in there and playing with it. You can never break the site, and I say that because when this particular platform was first introduced, there was a little hesitation on my end. But once I got into it, I was able to kind of like find out how powerful it can be and how useful it can be for, what our overall, VHA's overall goal is, which is, of course, to push out useful information where our veterans can make use of. And that's pretty much my whole overall sentiment about it is that in order for you to be comfortable with it, and especially with each feature from publish, engage to analyze, you really do have to go in there and just work in it. And if you have any questions, myself or Dom is here to help you out. And certainly don't hesitate to reach out to us. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so here's my question. You showed about creating a topic profile. I'm losing the language of what you called it, but you showed us how to retweet something. As far as Veteran of the Day goes, I'm sorry, not Veteran of the Day, social media content of the day, is it okay for us to share it from, do we need to do a retweet of it from the topic profile that we created, or is it also available in shared content?
It is not in shared content. It is only something that you can set up via topic profile, or you can just do it from Twitter natively. But yeah, that's not something that's available in shared content.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. If nobody else has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Thank you, everybody, for joining this office hours, and I will see you guys next week.